Hi everyone, welcome to Intelio BPMS Webinar. It's already 10 a.m., so we're going to start the webinar now. My name is Sonia, I'm process expert at Intelio, and today we also have Pierre, who is a process expert at Intelio. He'll be able to answer all your questions during this webinar. So before we're going to start, I would like to make a very quick audio check so that I know that everybody can hear me correctly. So please, in the Go to Webinar window, you have a chat section where you can submit a message if you can hear me correctly, so that I know that everything's fine and we can just start the webinar. So during this webinar, we'll have a special focus on Intelio Enterprise Edition features, and I will be demonstrating a full development lifecycle from the process modeling to the deployment and execution. So here I can see I have some messages, so I think everybody can hear me correctly. That's fine. Thank you. We have 10 attendees today, and here is the agenda of the webinar. So first I will have some presentation slides about Intelio, our product, but will be very quick. Then we'll jump directly to the live demonstration, and then I will give some next steps, some follow-up after the demonstration. So if you have any question during the demonstration, you can submit some messages in the chat window, and Pierre will answer your questions. And now if you have some follow-up question, you can just email us at sales@intelio.com, and we'll be pleased to answer. Okay. So here, a very quick overview of Intelio. Intelio was founded in July 1999, and we have our headquarters in Palo Alto, in California. This is a privately held company, so it's been funded by venture capital. You can see some of them on the right side here on the slide. We're currently leader in open source BPM. We have, so here it's not up to date, but we have more than 700 customers in more than 5 countries, more than 75 implementation partners, and almost 100 employees worldwide. So here on the top, you can see some of our current customers. You can see that we have customers in really all type of industries. Here a few words about Cosmo, which is our commercial model, commercial open source model. So you can see we have 3 editions in Intelio. So at the low level, we have the open source code base edition. So to be more specific, we have donated our BPMN modeler and also the process engine to the Apache Foundation. So that means you can just go to the website and read it for free and use it for free. And then we have packaged all this open source code base edition in a community edition to be more convenient to use. So this community edition comes with 10% additional code. It's available as binaries. You can download everything from the Intelio community website. It's absolutely free to use, but it comes with no support. So we'll just have some tutorials, some samples, help from the community forums, etc., and no limit of time. So then on the top of all this, you have the Enterprise Edition, which I will be using during this webinar. So this is about 10% additional code than the community edition. And here you have all the additional components, additional features included. And it comes with professional support, with SLA, documentation on a private wiki. And it's only accessible through subscriptions, yearly subscription. So you get all the source code and binary files as well. So if you want to work with Intelio, you don't have to subscribe to the full package immediately. You can see here we offer different packages depending on your current needs. And if you're satisfied with current offers and if you want to go further with Intalio, you can subscribe incrementally to some more advanced subscriptions. So basically, you can just get started with Intalio Enterprise Edition with an online or site training. And additionally, we can provide help with one of our process experts for coaching or supporting your starting project. And now, if you think that you can go further, if you want to speed up, we have production or development subscriptions. Okay, so we have really different packages. So here it's just a quick overview of Intalio Enterprise Edition. You can see for, of course, it's 100% ready to use in the enterprise environment and production. It's based on standard like BPMN and BPOL. It's a zero-code solution. You'll see that you don't have to write everything, a line of code. Everything is automatically generated for you. It's a one-click deployment. You have connectors for most databases, servers, and applications. And it comes through yearly subscriptions. So here, just quick note that Intalio is currently the leader in open source BPM. And as such, we have won the InfoWorld Award, which is delivered to the best open source software. So let's see here, we have some figures on the right side that shows how Intalio grows since 2005. So we are always increasing the number of deployment sites to more than here, more than 50,000. And here the figures are not really up to date, so it should be more now. And also we have currently more than 700 customers worldwide in all type of industries. Okay, here you can see the Intalio Ajax framework, which is actually used to model user form that you're going to use in your process workflow. So using Intalio Ajax, you can perform very powerful dynamic implementation as it is based on JavaScript. So this Intalio Ajax editor is actually based on type code general interface. And here I'm not going into much details since I will be demonstrating how to use Intalio Ajax during the live demonstration. Okay, here it's an overview of Intalio BAM. Intalio BAM is an enterprise edition module. It stands for Business Activity Monitoring, and Intalio allows you to communicate directly with your database using BAM metrics so that you can record, read, update some data from your process. Also, Intalio BAM integrates a very powerful reporting tool where you can design and run some interesting dashboards for your business. You can see here we have some pie charts, bar charts, etc. You can design very fancy dashboards. And here, once again, I will be demonstrating how to use Intalio BAM during the demonstration. Here you can see Intalio BRE. BRE stands for Business Rule Engine. This is also an enterprise edition module. So you may need to use those business tables once you have a slightly complex business process diagram. So Intalio BRE actually takes care of this because you can summarize all the logics and all the business policy within this table. So we'll be describing this in much more detail during the demo. Okay, here we have Intalio ECM. This is a document manager tool that we integrate. So once you have created your dashboard, for instance, you may want to report it as PDF file or whatever makes sense for you. And then you may want to store it in a repository or maybe share this dashboard with some other users so people can collaborate on a document. So here Intalio ECM allows you all that kind of functionalities. We also integrate with Liveframe, which is Portal, where you can see all your tasks from different users, and eventually you can complete your task directly through Liveframe. So to make it easy, we integrate the Intelio workflow user interface into Liveframe. Okay. So here I think we can already jump to the live demonstration. Let me open my Intelio Designer. So here you can see Intelio Designer Framework. And for those who are already familiar with Eclipse, you can see that it's based on Eclipse. So here on the right side, you have the main section, which is dedicated to the business process diagram. Then on the right side here, you have the Process Explorer, which is actually your workspace. So if you browse a little bit here, my workspace, you can see that I have already quite few projects in it. Today, I will be presenting this car insurance project. You can see here all the folders and the files which are related to this project. If I switch my view here, I have what we call the palette with all the BPMN shapes stored in it. And we have lots of different views that I won't go into too much detail here. So today I will be presenting a car insurance process for this demo. And before I go in detail to describe the flow of this process, I will just explain the point of this process. So here the point is to handle a customer application from the initial submission to the final decision. So the customer will submit a car insurance application from a website. I will be filling some information regarding this car insurance, some personal and maybe car information. Then the process will automate some operations. For example, we want to check automatically if the email address provided by the customer is correct or not. So we can automate it, this operation using a web service. Then we want to calculate a price for this customer. So we'll call some business rule and assign a price automatically. And then depending on this price, we may want to automatically approve this application or maybe send it to an employee or manager for a revision. At the very end of the process, we want to notify finally the customer by sending him an email on the decision regarding his car insurance application. It can be approved, automatically approved, rejected. So here it's very useful to use a business process diagram because you can automate lots of operations. For example, you can check automatically with a web service for the email address validity. You can assign a price automatically depending on some information given by the customer, his age, for example. Then you can automate some decisions depending on some data. For example, we can automatically approve if the price is very low, etc., etc. So before I describe how to perform such a process, such implementations, I will show you the workflow of this car insurance processes. So let me open a web browser. And here I will take the role of the customer. So the customer wants to submit a car application online. Here is the company website, for example, and I have to fill some information. So here I have already filled some of them to go quickly. I have to provide some information regarding the driver, the car. If I had ever had an accident, I can use this checkbox. Let's say I want a very high coverage. I'm young, I am located in California. So here I have submitted my application. Now I take the role of the car insurance company, and I want to log on the car insurance company as an employee. So I take the employee role. Here is the car insurance company system, and take the role of the employee to log into the system. And here, as employee, I have received a task to review the application submitted by the customer. You can see I retrieve all the information filled by the customer. I have a Ford Focus, I'm 23, my name is Sonia, here is my email address. It's been checked by web service, actually. And now I can take a decision regarding the application. Let's say I approve and complete my task. So here we have completed the car insurance process, and as a customer I should have received a final notification by email that my application has been approved. So here I have received this email. I have some additional information. I had for focus, and it tells me that the decision is the application has been approved. I have also the price for my car insurance. Okay. So let's go back to designer and consider this flow in more detail, so I can make it bigger here. So here we can see we have a starting message which contains actually all the information submitted by the customer, so his personal information, age, name, etc. And additionally, the information regarding the car, the type of coverage can be medium, high, low, etc. Then the very first thing that's going to happen here in this process is that we're assigning a unique ID to this application. That's pretty useful because you may want to retrieve each application and then perform some reports for each application. So it's useful to assign unique ID. Then here we're invoking some SQL query because I'm going to perform some dynamic operation in my user form, but for now just forget about it. I'm going to describe this later. So here we go to this big looping subprocess. So the point here is to check against the email address validity provided by the customer. So to do this, I'll just calling a very basic mailbox validator service, and then depending on the message returned by this web service, can be email address correct, email address not correct. I will just take two distinct paths. So if the email address is correct, we take this path, which means we can go out of this process. So this is the end of the loop, and we can continue the flow. Okay. Now, if the email address is not correct, then we take this path, which means we're going to ask the customer to reapply until it becomes correct. Okay, fair enough. Now let's say that everything is successful, the email address is correct. We go to this special task. So you can see here we have those two little icons on the top, which means it's not a regular task, but this is a template process. So in this template process, I have stored my business rules. Let me show you this. So a template process is, to make it easy, template process is like a process within a main process. So here you can see I have a processes folder. Here I have the main process, which is called car insurance. And then I have this child process, which is called rules. So in this child process, I am the point is to call my business rules my business tables to give me a price for each car application. So how it works in this try process, I send some incoming informations, some input information, if you prefer, that come from the main process. So these input parameters contain some information such as the age of the driver, the type of coverage, etc. Then then we call the business rules, and depending on those parameters, my business rule will return me a price, a given price. This given price comes right here as an outgoing message, as output parameters if you want, and it goes back to my main process. So here in my main process, I already know the price that will be assigned to the customer. Then right here, we have this gateway shape, which means we're going to define a condition, and depending on some parameter, we're going to split the process into distinct flows. Okay, so here the condition depends on the price returned by my business rule. So if the price is greater than given amount, let's say if the price is lower than a given amount, then we're not going to bother the employee or the manager of the car insurance company, but we're going to automatically approve the application. So here we take the yes pass, and we go right here, and we finally notify the customer that his application has been auto-approved. Now, if the price is, let's say, greater than a given amount, then we may need to ask the employee to review manually this application. And that's the scenario that we have taken in the when I have shown you the workflow. The employee had to review actually the application because the price was greater than given amount, which is 100, I guess. So here you can see that the employee revision task is included in the sub-process with this timer event at the bottom medium here. And that means that the employee has actually a given time duration, let's say 2 days, to complete his task on time. So if he doesn't complete his task within 2 days, then it will be escalated here to the manager for final completion. And in each cases, we finally notify the customer by email. Okay? So now I have already built this business process diagram. And you may want to know how to build it, so that's pretty simple. Let me show you. So here I have opened the BPMN palette with all BPMN shapes, so I can browse a little bit. Here we have the task, looping task. We have all type of connectors, have this, the pools, variables, etc. Then you have all the start events, for example, the message start event that I've been using at the very first place. The intermediate events. We have all the end events, the gateway to take some decisions to define conditions in your process, and here some artifacts. So let's say here, after the final notification, I want to add a task, for example. Doesn't really make sense, but it's there for demonstration. So here I have just click one time on the task from the palette, and then I can click on the pool to add the task. Then you don't have to go back to the BPMN palette. Actually, you can just take one of those arrows that pop-ups automatically run the task. So here we need only the plain arrow, and I can add a task very quickly that way. Then I don't have to add only task. I can add all type of BPM and shape because I have this menu that pop-ups automatically. So here, for example, I may want to use a getaway, and then I can use an intermediate event here, and some other task here. And then we can, of course, reposition each shape as you want. You can reposition the whole diagram if you want to, and drag and drop it around. So that's allows you to build very quickly your business process diagram. Okay. Okay, so now we have integrated most of the BPMN shapes, I mean all the BPMN shapes in this pool, which is the main pool, the car insurance process itself. Where you can see I have some of the pools on the top and at the bottom, which are collapsed for now. I can deploy this pool and show you what they contain. So here I have those 3 blue pools, which are dedicated to some human participants. I have one for customer, one for employee, one more for the manager. And here on those pools, I have integrated all the user form. So here, for example, for the initial application, I have integrated a user form, which is an Ajax user form, and I have connected it into the starting message from my main process. So you can see here, we use the dashed arrow to make some connection across different pools, and we use the plain arrows to connect tasks and BPM and shapes within the same main pool. So here I have integrated the user form for each human participant, okay? You can see here. And then at the bottom I have also 2 other pools. One is dedicated to my database because here I'm invoking my database to perform a query. And here I have some other pool dedicated to a web service. So this web service is a mailbox validator. So this is actually a web service for lots of email operations. Here I have used the check email operation. And at the very end of my process, I have used the send operation to send the email. Okay. So something you may have noticed is that we have those dark header on all the pools, user pools, and those external service pools, except on the main pool. So the main pool is actually an executable pool. That's why it contains all the BPMN shapes. That means this pool will actually generate all the BPOL code for you. And the other pools, which are with the dark header here, are not going to generate any code, but they're just involved with those connectors to the executable pool. All right. Okay, so now we have all this business process diagram, which is good. But from technical point of view, I would say that doesn't mean anything. We have just this like a picture. And now you may want to know how to make all the integrations, how to define the condition, for example, on the gateways, how to assign values, etc., etc. So here, let me show you first how to implement user forms. So here you can see I have integrated lots of user forms. Let me show you how to build a user form. So here I'm going to create a new form for this demonstration. So here it's going to open the Intelio Ajax editor for me. Here we go. So here we have the Intelio Ajax editor, which is based on typical general interface. And you can see here on the right side at the top, we have what is called the component libraries with all the Ajax components. you have a folder that contains all the Intelio widgets. You can browse if you want. So we have some really all type of components you may want to need to build your form. You have checkboxes, date pickers, all the field set, matrix tables, select components. You have text array, text input, text output, time pickers, I mean everything you need. And the way it works is just by drag and dropping some component from the component libraries into your form, into the page of your form. So here, for example, let's say I want to integrate a matrix table in my form. You can see here, drag and drop it into the field set of the form. Okay. So here I have integrated this matrix table. Now I can customize it a little bit. So here we have the component hierarchy, which is I would say the schema of your form. And we have the properties editor when you can customize everything. So here, for example, I can customize the label of my matrix. I can rename it to my matrix, for example. Here we go. Then, of course, you can add more components. So let's say I want to add new field set. Oops. Here. And let's say you may want to add, I don't know, for example, a date picker into this field set. You can drag and drop it, and it's included automatically for you. Okay. So here, here is how you can build very quickly your user form. And now I would like to show you the form that I've been implementing for the initial application. Here it is. So here is the application form, the initial application form. You can see here I have integrated a picture. I have integrated several text inputs. I can define a default value for each input if I want to. Here I have two select components, one for the car brand and the other for the car model. I have a checkbox, one more select component, and here we have a list. Okay. Okay. So here, something interesting that I've been performing within this application form is a dynamic call, dynamic operation. So using the Intelio Ajax editor, you can actually perform some dynamic operation because it's based on JavaScript. And here, what I've been doing is that here for the car make, uh, and for the car make, I have the choice between GMC and Ford. And then depending on the car make that I will be selecting, let's say Ford, for example, the car model will be loading automatically in the second component. So I have the choice between Mustang and Focus. You can see here. Now if I choose GMC here, I have two other available values. I can choose between GMC, Yukon, or this one, Acadia. So here, those data are actually stored into my database. That's pretty useful because I'm calling my database and I can retrieve some values from it and store it into those Ajax components. So here for today's demonstration, it's not that useful. We don't have so much data to handle, but I think about real life, it can be really useful to retrieve the data from your database and include it in some drop-down menus like this. Then you can perform lots of other interesting dynamic operations. For example, you can decide to hide or make visible some fields depending on the value of some other fields, things like this. So that's pretty powerful. Okay. Okay, so here I think that pretty much covers the Intelio Ajax user forms. And next thing I'd like to show you, which is a very important tool of the Intelio designer, is the mapper. Let me show you this. So, okay. So here we can, in my business process diagram, I can actually assign some values, define some operations or conditions at each step, at any point of my diagram. I can map some data, etc., etc. And all this are performed within the mapper tool. So here is the mapper tool. So let's take a shape. I can select any shape and make the mapper bigger. Okay, so here is the mapper tool. You can see here we have different sections in the mapper. We have actually three distinct sections. We have the left section here, which is dedicated to the output parameters. Then you have at the middle section, you have the space for performing your mappings, defining functions, operations, condition, etc. And then you have the right section, which is dedicated to the input parameters. So to make it easy, what you will be performing in the mapper is assigning some value from the left side here into the right side here. And to do this, you just have to map the different parameters. So here, for example, I have selected the revision task. Let's say the revision task from the manager. So in this for this task, what I'm doing is just mapping the, 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 the different fields, the different values from the manager form with the values from the customer form. Here is my customer form. You can see here we retrieve all the schema of the customer form, his name, first name, age, etc. All the values that will be filling. And I can map it into the manager form so that the manager will see all the values that has been filled by my customer. So this is a very simple mapping. And I take values from the output side, which is the left side. I put those values into the right side, which is the input side. Okay? So that's an example of a very simple mapping. I am assigning some values from input output parameters to input parameters. Then I can perform some other mappings. For example, here at this specific point of the process, I already know that the customer application has been automatically approved, because here I'm taking a decision, and at this point I want to update the status of the application, and I already know it will be automatically approved. So here I can just write a value and assign this value into my parameter, my input parameter. So the way it works is pretty simple. You have this red square icon in the mapper tool. You can select it. It's just a simple click. And you can write a value and store this value in any input parameters which is located so in the right side. For example, here I can hard code a value and store it in location, which doesn't really make sense, but for example purpose, here is how we can do. Okay, so Fine. We can also define conditions using the mapper. So here, for example, I have to define a condition for the auto-approval getaway decision. So here, my condition is that if the price returned by my business rules is lower than 90, then I take the auto-approval pass. So you can see here when we have a condition, you have two different tabs in the mapper. You have the default flow tab. The default flow has been defined here as the no flow. You can see we have this like a backslash on the arrow, which means it's the default flow. The no flow is the default flow. And the non-default flow is the yes flow. And here for the non-default flow, you need to define the condition. And here is how we can do this within Mapper. So if you have here a getaway with 3 or 4 different paths, you will have as many tabs here in the mapper as the defining paths, defined flows. Okay. So here we can define conditions, but you can also define some operations. For example, let me show you. We have here we have the mapper palette with all type of operations and functions you may want to perform. So let me show you. For example, you have a very simple operation on numerics, so you can add, subtract, multiply, divide values, of course. And the way it works is a simple drag and drop into the mapper. Here is the add operator. You can also perform some other functions, for example, on string values. For example, if you want to concat string values, you can use the concat operator here. And here you have really all the available functions that you can perform within the mapper. Okay. So that's a very powerful tool of the interior designer. Okay. Next thing I like to show you is Intelio BAM. So BAM is an enterprise edition feature. That means you cannot get it for free. And you can see here at several points in my process, I have used those red empty intermediate events to fill some data. So BAM is actually used to define some metrics. So a metric is actually like a set of parameters of external variables, if you prefer. And the point here is to store some data from your business process diagram into this metric, which communicate directly with your database. That means you will store your data directly into your database, and then you'll be able, so this data will be persistent, and then you'll be able to query your database, read those data, read those value, and perform some interesting reports and dashboards. So here at several points of my process, I have actually stored some business relevant data into my database using the BAM metric. So how it works is pretty simple. We have integrated a full BAM metric editor. Let me show you. Here is the BAM editor. And I have created already a metric, which is called insurance data. In this metric, I have several parameters which are external variables. I have the parameter for the age of the driver, the car make, the type of coverage, the location of the customer, the status of the application can be rejected, approved, automatically approved. Okay, and here the rate, I mean the price of the application. And then you have to define, or before you have to define a key. So that's pretty much like when you create a table in your database, you need to specify some values and the primary key. Then you can just generate the SQL code associated to this BAM metric. So here is how it looks. It's just the creation of a table. Here is the insurance data metric, and then you can execute this SQL code. And it will create this table directly in your BPMS database. Okay. So we have all the connectors to create this table. So then you have to include your metric into your executable pool, into your process. Here we go. Here you have, I have integrated my BAM metric into my process. And once you have done this, once you have drag and dropped your metric in your process, you have at every point of your process, you have those external variables. You can recognize those external variables from your metric because they have this pie chart icon, and they're available in your mapper so that you can assign values directly in those external variables. And this will write in your database. Okay, so that's pretty useful. Here, for example, let me show you the mapping that I've been performing in my metric. So at this point of the process, we already have query the business rules. That means we already know the price that will be assigned to the customer, and we have all the information from the customer. So what I've been doing here is just mapping all the information from the initial application form into my metric. So in my metric, I have only created some interesting business data parameters. I don't have all the information, so I can map the values I'm interested in. The age, for example, the car make, here the coverage. The status of the application, here I have just hard-coded the value because at this point of the process, I don't already know if it will be approved or rejected or whatever. So it's still in progress. And I already know the rate, I mean the price that will be assigned because my business rule here have already returned a price for the application. Okay, so then here I have mapped, I have updated the status of the application at several points. Here, for example, I have overwritten from in progress to automatically approved because I know it will be automatically approved here. Okay. So then that you have created your BAM metric, you have stored some values from your process into those external variables and everything stored in your database, you can just create some dashboard based on this metric. So here I can show you a sample dashboard. So I have created a very simple dashboard, only a report actually, which is a pie chart. So let me show switch my view from interior designer to report design. We have integrated in interior designer, we have integrated this report design editor. Here you can see we have a palette with all the report item, for example, labels. You can drag and drop a chart, everything you need. So the way it works, it's not a drag and drop, actually it's a one click. So here you can pick a label and add it into your dashboard like this. And here, my dashboard, oops, you can just customize your dashboard. So how to build a report? So if you double click on your chart, you have this chart editor. How it works, you just need to select the data. That means you just need to select the metric that has been created in your database, retrieve the data and perform a query depending on the report you want to perform. So here, for example, let's create a new dataset. And then you have this query editor where you can just perform your query. So first you need to retrieve the metric that you've been creating within the BAM metric. My metric was called insurance data. So let's say here I want to report on the status. You don't have to write if you don't want. So here I want to report on the status of the application. So I can just double click on status. It will select all the status from my metric. So here you have query your database. And then you have this preview. So for now, I just have one record because we have already approved at the very beginning of the demonstration. I have already run the process and approved one application. So I have a preview here. You can see we have all the records displayed in the editor here on the status column. And then you can customize as much as you want your dashboard. So you have lots of customization available. Okay. So then something very useful is that you have this preview tab integrated in the report design, so that you don't have to deploy and run the whole project to see your dashboard. You have already this preview in the designer, so you already query your database and you can see the result, which is fine. Okay. So last thing I'd like to show you is Intelio BRE. So Intelio BRE is also an enterprise edition feature. It's very useful when you want to define your business policy, your logics, all the rules. That means you don't have to hard code your rules with lots of gateways within your diagram, but you can summarize everything within the table. So let me show you. Here is the business table. So here I have a very limited table. I have only 3 conditions here and 1 action, but you could have hundreds of conditions, hundreds of action if you wanted to. And each row of my table means a possibility, like a scenario. So here, for example, if I read this specific row, it means a driver, which is under 20. You can see here this condition is about the age of the driver. Here, this condition is a boolean. It's to know if the customer has already had accidents or not, so it can be true or false. Then you have the coverage, can be high, medium, or low. And depending on those 3 condition parameters, you will have one output action, which is the price. But you could have hundreds of actions if you wanted to. So let me read this specific row. It means a driver who is under 20, never had any accident, who wants a high coverage, will be assigned a price of 130. Okay. So here then you can drag and drop the columns if you want to. If you think it makes more sense to put the accident first, you can reorganize your table. You can also add some conditions, so you can update your table very quickly. Okay. You can edit, you can update your table like this. Each row can be updated. Okay. And here you can see I've been using this star, which means here I'm considering all type of coverage. Doesn't matter the coverage that will be chosen by the customer. The result will remain the same. So here, for example, if I take this row, it means that a driver who is more than 25, who never had any accident, and doesn't matter the coverage he will be choosing, will be assigned a price of 70. So here the business the decision table is very useful, because it means when you want to update your business rules, and you often update the business rules, you don't have to update the business process diagram. You don't have to remove mappings and update the business process, but you can just update very quickly your table. Okay, you can add conditions, edit some, update some prices, etc., and your process will remain the same. So that's very useful. You can also reuse this table across multiple projects, so it can be also useful, etc., etc. Okay, so now we have seen almost everything. We have seen how to integrate Ajax user forms, how to integrate and create a BAM metric, how to assign values, perform operations, and define conditions within the mapper tool. We've seen how to define a decision table, how to use it and integrate it in your process. So now we're just ready to deploy the whole project and run it and see how it works in the user interface. So here I have already deployed my project. So here is the configuration editor. When you want to deploy, you can just select the file you want to deploy and the one you don't want to deploy. You can choose to archive the whole package or deploy the bundle. And then when you're done with the configuration options, you can just click this deploy button. Of course, you have to run your BPMS server, and then you can just open a web browser and go to the different UI. So we have actually three different user interface. We have the BPMS console, which is mostly an administration tool. So you'd better to log as admin in the BPMS console. So you'll have the full rights of all processes and instances. So here you can see the BPMS console. We have a section for all processes, one for instances, and some configuration tools here. Here you have the list of processes, including the current ones to this project. You can see that I have already completed one instance of this process because I have already run the project at the very beginning of the demonstration. You can see that in this package we have two distinct processes. One is the child process, and here we have the main process. And you can see the life cycle of each process, can be active or retired. And here we have the different states of the process, can be in progress. If you have a failure, it will display the failure here, can be terminated, and now here it's completed. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to launch a new instance of our current application process. And let's see what's happened in BPMS console. Here I have started a new instance. If I refresh here my BPMS console, you can see that I have one instance in progress and now one completed. You can see that the child process is already completed. We have already called this child process. And if I go in more details in this instance, which is in progress, we can see the picture of the diagram that display the stage of the process here. So let me show you. So here we have this play icon, which means, which tells me actually that we are currently at this specific point of the process. If we had failure, we will have this fault or failure icon on the specific task where we have a failure, for example, and then you have a failure message associated here on the BPMS console. So here is, so this is very useful when you want to debug your process. And you have also more details in the data section. You can retrieve and see all the different values, all the different messages. So here for now, we can see, for example, here we have the values from the user form. That's not really useful. But if we want the rules, for example, the response, here the business rules, the response business rule is 120, and that corresponds to the price written by my business rule. So here we can check for every data to see if you have something wrong in your process, and you can debug easily using BPMS console. Okay. Okay, so this is fine. We have also a UI dedicated to the BAM metric. So here to preview our dashboards, you have the BAM UI. And for now, you can see that we have two records in our metric. One is approved, one is in progress. So the approved one was the previous instance, and now we have one in progress because we don't have provided any decision now for now. So now let me go back to the UI framework. Let's log as employee. Sorry. And here, as employee, I have received a task. And let's say now I'm going to reject this application. So here you can see in the dashboard, in the report, sorry, we have one approved, one in progress. And here I'm going to reject the application. Okay, let's refresh the dashboard. Now we have one approved, one rejected. No more in progress. This is fine. If we refresh here in the process, in the BPMS console process section, you can see that we have now two completed instances of the car insurance process. Fine. And here we have also received a new email that said that this application has been rejected this time. Okay. So here I have demonstrated the full life cycle from the initial modeling to the deployment, execution with all the possible integration. So now let me give you some few steps as follow-up for this live demonstration. So okay, so here as a follow-up of the demonstration, I have this document, which you can ask for. Actually, you can just ask and email us at sales@intalio.com, and you can ask for this document. We'll be pleased to send it to you. This is a kind of checklist to define your own BPM project from both a technical and business point of view. So this document should actually help you to get started with your project, determine some key information such as the platform you may need, the risks and opportunities related to your project, the cost and the benefits also that you can expect from your project, etc., etc. So those kind of things. So please don't hesitate to ask for this document directly at sales@intalio.com. So here just few words that we have some experts for each step of your project, beginning from your education with Intalio BPMS. So we offer regular trainings worldwide. You can check on the schedule. We have a schedule on our website, intalio.com/trainings. So here we have experts from the beginning to the maintenance also, when it's already running on production, for example. And we provide technical support for this with SLA, and this comes in with yearly subscription. This is special focus on the accelerator package, which usually comes when people want to get started from scratch, I would say, with Intalio BPMS. So it offers 1 month access to Intalio BPMS Enterprise Edition, 1 month of technical support. You have also 2 days of training on site, 1 session of consulting on site. So a session is 2 days. You have also coaching with an Intalio process expert, and here is the price. It's 12,000. Okay, so now we have reached the end of this BPMS webinar. And as a conclusion, I would suggest for those who want to learn more and speed up with Intalio, to subscribe to a training. So we have, as I said before, we have lots of training which are going on worldwide. So you can check the schedule on intalio.com/trainings. Those trainings are for 2 or 3 days. Usually it's 3 days. They're organized with a very small group of people, so you can learn about BPMS standard and BPM generic concepts very fast. And right after the training, most of the attendees are actually able to build their own business project, and they can start on the right foot. So please check the schedule on intalio.com. Okay, so here we have reached the end of this Intalio BPMS webinar. I know that we had lots of questions going on during this webinar, and Pierre has answered all these questions. Thank you for your attention, and I'm going to end the webinar now.